Well, Fox News alert, maybe, maybe we've got some sort of deal on this ceiling issue and getting through this CR. But what happens if this falls through? Because it could, because we've been here before a couple of times and we thought that this was over. But what is the plan B for the president? Jonathan Colegio joins me, Republican strategist and communications director for American Crossroads, and Chuck Rocha is the fellow at the Center for National Policy, and he's also a Democratic strategist. Gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you here.
Good afternoon.
Let's see. Chuck, let me start with you. Are you convinced? Do you think there's a deal here, or you think there's more surprises to come?
You know, every day surprises me more and more. I hope we have a deal. It seems reasonable, but reasonable in Washington, D.C. really hasn't gone hand in hand lately. The American people are frustrated. You can see the approval rating dropping for both parties. The Republicans are taking the brunt of it, but it's time to get this done and move forward. We can have all the debates we want to have, but it's time to reopen the government and get past this debt ceiling and not play politics with our debt limits.
Yeah, you know, Jonathan, it's interesting. Leon Panetta, who was the chief of staff for this president, worked in the White House for him, has such a long history in Washington, has held so many positions. He really has basically said that he thinks that the president lacked leadership on this issue, and he's going to talk more about it at 2 o'clock this afternoon. To me, the big question is here. Everyone argues about crisis politics. We talk about the full faith and credit of the United States of America, right? Do we have that full faith and credit if we don't fix our financial system going forward?
Well, I think the good news is that we have a deal, and I think that when you zoom out, I mean, remember when we went through this a couple of years ago with the debt limit debate, the process itself was very, very messy. People didn't like the drama in the moment, but it ended up being very healthy for the economy in that we were able to achieve $2.5 trillion in spending cuts through sequestration that Senator Mitch McConnell was able to preserve this time around. So that, I think, is the main accomplishment for
So can they do it again by
McConnell.
December 13th is the question, Chuck.
Well,
is that what you want to do, Chuck?
Well, I think that there's a lot of people out there that are hurting right now, and I think that this was the best compromise that could be handled today.
No, but I mean moving forward, because they're going to sit down and talk about a budget. Keep in mind, we haven't had a budget in 5 years. You have to ask yourself, are we going to have the first presidency in the United States of America with no budget? Is that a possibility, Chuck?
I think that it could be a possibility, and there's a reason why that is. It's because of the partisan politics, because of the congressional districts now. There's no real accountability for these guys to have to work with either side because they don't have to worry about re-election only from primary opposition.
All right, so that raises the question, where is the president on this, Jonathan? We just heard from Jay Carney. He's moving on to immigration.
Oh, he's moving on to immigration, but the other thing that Carney said that I thought was informative is this White House does not like those sequestration cuts, and they're going to try to reverse them when this comes up again. But I think you raised a very, very important point, which is that this who doesn't throw the ball to the other team. He never makes any concessions. He always treats his opponents as though they're enemies. I mean, look at George W. Bush. Like him or hate him, the first thing he did as president was throw the ball to the Democrats on the education policy issue. This president has never done that. He's never tried to work across party lines, and we're seeing the fruit of that in this drama that happens over and over and over.
Yeah, we got to all ask ourselves at home, what happens now? Where does this president want to take the budget process long term and all of these big issues? Jonathan and Chuck, we'll see. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, Martha.
See you guys in February.
Yeah.
Because we will
we'll
be back. We're watching all this in Washington, too.